Few people believe that a strange-looking creature, like a lost creature from the Ice Age, can turn into a profit of $500,000 in just one shipment. That is Geoduck, giant elephant clam hidden under the cold sand of the west coast of North America, considered a living gold bar in the deep sea. Its appeal comes not only from its rarity or unique flavor, but also from the fierce race to keep them alive all the way to Asia. Why is a clam enough to make gourmets willing to pay a fortune? What is hidden under this rough shell that has become a symbol of power at the dinner table? And how can exporters keep them fresh after their journey halfway around the world? Go discover how one geoduck can sell for $300 the world's strangest and most profitable clam. Imagine a strange creature that lives hidden deep in the cold sands of the northern coast. It has a long, alien-like proboscis, exists silently for decades, and surprisingly, each one is valued at up to $300. That is Geoduck, giant elephant clam, the desire of high-end cuisine. Its meat is crispy, sweet, and contains many rare nutrients. When appearing on the menu, each slice of Geoduck sashimi is not just a dish, but a symbol of luxury, making the value of each plate can reach the threshold of $400. Geoduck are not found everywhere. They only appear on the cold, pristine shores of the United States and Canada, where ocean currents keep the water crystal clear. To reach maturity, they need at least 7 years of patient burial in the sand. Therefore, the only and harshest rule of this profession is Geoduck is only valuable while it is alive. Once it stops breathing, its body immediately loses all economic value. Tin shipments worth $500,000, Geoduck becomes a living treasure, and only those brave and skilled enough dare to enter this risky game. As the tide recedes, revealing the cold, hard sands, divers begin what they call mining for white gold. But here, the gold is not a precious metal, but rather a strange giant clam hidden deep beneath the sand. They lurk at depths of 2 to 3 feet, anchored like steel anchors. For divers, bringing them up intact is a challenge that requires absolute precision. One wrong pick and the shell will shatter, the meat will be worthless, and all the effort will be in vain. To get there, the worker used a pressure hose, shooting water in powerful vortexes to sweep away the sand. Little by little, the geoduck's long tentacles began to move, revealing the presence of a creature worth hundreds of dollars. When that moment comes, the worker must gently lift the creature with his bare hands, keeping both shell and flesh intact, as if holding a fragile treasure just unearthed from the ground. A single dive usually brings back only a few dozen individuals, but at $300 each, all the chill and numbness in the 8 degrees Celsius water is worth it. Upon return to shore, geoduck are immediately rinsed with cold seawater and carefully sorted. Healthy, intact individuals are retained. Damaged ones are discarded. Next comes the quarantine stage. Each individual is assigned a traceability code with detailed information recorded. Just one small mistake in this process can cause the entire shipment to be returned, resulting in losses of up to hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's a gooey duck world.
And that's just the beginning. Because as soon as we leave the sea, a race life and death begin immediately. The geoduck's lifespan is only 36 hours. From the moment it leaves the cold sand, the creature that could live for a century now has only a day and a half to maintain its value. A delay of just a few hours would have rendered $500,000 worth of shipments useless. No restaurant would have accepted them. No customer would have paid the price. A small deviation could have cost the entire season's work. To counter this cruel limitation, humans must recreate a miniature ocean. The temperature inside the tank is maintained at 0 to 2 degrees Celsius. Humidity is kept high, and oxygen is pumped in constantly, accurately simulating deep sea breathing. Each individual is placed in an insulated container surrounded by ice-cold gel ice and fresh seaweed to reduce stress. On the lid of the container, tiny sensors continuously send temperature and humidity data to a monitoring center, as if each geoduck had its own life passport. The next journey was less than 36 hours long, but it was the most nerve-wracking, more than 9,000 kilometers from North America to the fine dining restaurants of Shanghai. On the map, it was just a flight path. In real life, it was a maze full of traps. A car stuck in traffic, a delayed customs paperwork, a minor mechanical problem in the refrigerated compartment. Any of these events can turn $500,000 into worthless shells. That's why specialized vehicles maintain perfect temperature and oxygen, while online monitoring teams monitor every minute, every kilometer. David, a longtime shipping supervisor, sighed. I have been in charge of more than 300 shipments, but if it is just a few hours late, the whole shipment will be ruined. That feeling of stress never goes away, even after hundreds of times. After more than 30 breathless hours, the cargo worth $500,000 finally landed safely. The destination was a swanky restaurant in the heart of Shanghai, where high-class customers waited under sparkling crystal chandeliers. But behind that crystal-clear slice of sashimi lies a grueling journey. Divers soaking in the cold, preservation technicians staying up all night checking sensors, and a delivery team racing against time. From the bottom of the North American Ocean to the lavish banquet tables of Asia, each geoduck is the result of persistence, patience, and a willingness to take risks. And when the party ends, a new journey begins. From the cold sands of the beach to the lavish banquet table under crystal chandeliers, the geoduck is no longer a clam. It has become a symbol of a luxury journey where every moment counts in cash and every decision can shape destiny. If you found this story amazing, stay tuned to discover more expensive and risky journeys, where behind the scenes there are always more secrets than we think. Geoduck once stunned the world with its strange appearance and huge value hidden deep under the mud, but sea urchins conquered diners with the opposite: small, fragile, and incredibly expensive. This liquid gold of the ocean only needs a moment of delay to sweep away an entire fortune. It's hard to imagine that a thorny, quiet creature living at the bottom of the ocean could become a million-dollar commodity. But sea urchins, also known as uni, are a clear example of this paradox. Hidden within the bristly shell are strips of golden egg, as smooth as cream and as sweet as the first seawater of the season. That flavor is the reason why the world's top sushi chefs are willing to pay high prices for the freshest part every day. Unlike any other seafood, sea urchins are extremely fragile. They are perishable, and their shelf life is less than 24 hours after leaving the sea. So in the uni world, speed and accuracy are not simply priorities. They are imperatives. Delay means failure. A tray of premium uni can cost between $80 and $150, depending on freshness and origin. That may seem small, but when multiplied, it adds up to a huge market. A large shipment typically carries between 6,000 and 10,000 trays, with the total value soaring into the millions of dollars in a single shipment. However, the greater the value, the more severe the risks, and the more suffocating the pressure placed on each stage. The uniqueness of the sea urchin industry is not only about the profit figures, but also about the way people treat each tray of uni as a living organism, fragile, breakable, and irreplaceable. In the global cycle, when demand is skyrocketing, the big question always exists. Who has the courage to deliver on time, and who will lose everything just because they are 15 minutes late? Before dawn broke, the sea stretched out in silence. In that space, the divers quietly began their work. No loud engines, no rough nets, just men, thick wetsuits, heavy oxygen tanks, and reverence for the sea. In water chilling below 5 degrees Celsius, they ventured into the dark reef, where sea urchins lurked like living black pearls. These tiny creatures are not easy to find. They sneak into crevices of rocks and corals. Removing them requires a keen eye, deft hands, and absolute patience to avoid damaging them. Each porcupine is picked by hand and placed in a mesh bag on the back. If one of them gets bruised or dies before reaching the shore, its value is immediately reduced to 0. From that moment on, the race began. Not in numbers, but in precision, speed, and the ability to maintain complete freshness. But in that water, there is no hurry. Every movement is slow, meticulous, like a traditional ritual. This is both a profession and a true art. It is the combination of skill, experience, and patience that creates the most quintessential gift from the deep sea, Golden, fatty strips of urchin eggs for the most discerning diners. Once the boat docks, the sea urchins are immediately taken to a coastal processing station. Here, each step is done manually, but with precision down to the smallest detail. The urchin's shell is split in half with a sharp knife, revealing the bright yellow egg, just a few grams, but a priceless crystallization of the ocean. The worker uses specialized tweezers to gently pick up each strip of egg, then washes it in purified seawater to preserve its original flavor. The egg strips are then neatly arranged on traditional wooden trays, becoming small, smooth, unblemished works of art. One small mistake, one crack or wrong cut, and the entire value of the tray is instantly lost. With uni, freshness is not enough. Appearance also determines value. In the world of sea urchin shipping, time is of the essence. Auctions only accept shipments on time. If you arrive at the right time, the price can jump to $120 to $150 for a tray. But 30 minutes late, the price drops to half, or worse, gets eliminated altogether. The danger is not just from the hands of the clock. Hedgehog eggs are extremely sensitive to temperature. If they exceed 4 degrees Celsius, within a few hours, their quality will collapse. They will become mushy, discolored, runny, a total loss. It's a double whammy, running against time while maintaining a stable, cold environment. A sudden rainstorm, a technical problem, or a delayed inspection can wipe out $1 million deal. And the bitter thing is, there is no insurance package to cover the delay. Damaged goods, the business bears the entire cost. In this game, a mistake means failure. Every link in the chain, from the diver to the driver to the warehouse keeper, cannot afford to be late by even a minute. After a journey of thousands of kilometers, the freshest trays of uni finally reach the kitchens of the world's top sushi chefs. Uni is not fussy. It is not fire resistant and does not accept strong seasonings. Just a small piece of vinegared rice, a thin piece of seaweed, a strip of barely melted uni. Place it on your hand, pass it to the customer, all in less than 10 seconds. Uni flavor is beyond words. Fatty, salty, sweet, all in one. Smooth as cream, but with a salty mineral aftertaste. The breath of the deep sea. In Tokyo, New York, or Dubai, uni isn't just for sushi. It appears in Italian risotto, Japanese cold noodles, or even elaborate European dishes with sophisticated sauces. To the gourmet, uni is more than just a dish. It's an experience of perfect balance between nature, craftsmanship, and the present moment. And when the first bite touches the lips, few people know that the fragile flavor is the result of hundreds of people staying up all day just to keep the freshness. From the bottom of the frozen sea to the lavish banquet table, each tray of uni is the result of a fierce race. Every minute, every degree of cold can decide the fate of hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not simply a food industry, it is a game of absolute precision. Sea urchin roe is touted as liquid gold that exists only through speed, while Scottish oysters tell the opposite story, a marine treasure distilled by time where 3 years of patience crystallizes the essence of flavor in each tiny shell. Along the west coast and the outlying islands, the ocean waters are crystal clear, mineral-rich, and exceptionally cold. Temperatures range from 5 to 12 degrees Celsius year-round. The harsh cold slows oyster growth, but each day and month strengthens the meat and adds a natural sweetness. For oysters, waves are not enemies, but silent trainers. The baskets are hung under the sea, tossed daily by waves and tides. This is the physical exercise that helps the oyster's muscles become firmer and more flavorful, completely different from those in warmer seas. And that is why only oysters strong enough to survive 3 harsh winters are selected for export. Weaker individuals are eliminated. This harsh screening rule makes every qualified oyster the result of natural selection, precious and worthy of the expensive price. The journey to oyster farming in Scotland takes exactly 36 months, 3 years. It is a process that requires patience, meticulous attention to detail, and a combination of centuries of experience and modern technology. From the moment the young oysters are suspended in the cold water, the fishermen begin their relentless monitoring. Temperature, salinity, dissolved oxygen, flow rate, all are tightly controlled. Periodically, the oyster baskets are rotated, raised and lowered to prevent mud from sticking and to increase the surface area exposed to the mineral water. Each movement is done carefully because even the smallest mistake can affect the entire crop. Modern technology supports fishermen. Lifting net systems help reduce collisions. Environmental sensors detect abnormalities and send early warnings. Every little detail, from water clarity to oxygen levels, is constantly monitored. In particular, the entire oyster farming process uses absolutely no chemicals. Each oyster is farmed according to international standards, ensuring cleanliness, safety, and no infection. When the icy winter sets in, the water temperature drops to a brutally low level. The weak oysters die, leaving only the strong ones to survive. As a result, their meat becomes firmer and more flavorful. And after 36 months, the final result appears. Oysters of ideal size, with sweet fatty meat and a salty aftertaste. A specialty of time worth tens of dollars each. Harvesting Scottish oysters is not a routine job. It is more of a ritual performed with dignity and reverence. Fishermen choose the moment when the tide is low, the waves are calm, and the water is clear to start work. Before pulling the basket, they must check the wind direction and flow speed to avoid stirring up the mud layer at the bottom. As they pull up the oyster baskets, they do it slowly, inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter. This process prevents the oysters from being shocked by pressure and temperature differences. Under the silver light of the sea, each layer of oyster appears sparkling like a string of precious stones. Each oyster is shucked by hand or with a special knife, carefully so as not to damage the shell. The qualified individuals, even shell, beautiful color, standard size, are placed in soft trays. Those that do not meet the requirements are released back into the sea to continue their journey. After harvesting, oysters are bathed in purified seawater to wash away sand and mud, then quickly transferred to cold storage at optimal temperature. This step locks in flavor and maintains original freshness. It all happened in near silence. The only sounds were the dripping of water and the clanging of shells on trays. But behind that silence were decades of experience and reverence for the ocean's gift. After leaving port, the oyster's journey continues at modern processing facilities, the backstage that determines value and reputation. Here, the sophisticated processing line combines human skills and intelligent control technology. Once in the warehouse, oysters are graded for size, either manually by hand or by scanning machine. Freshness is checked by shell color, tightness, and touch response. Only qualified fish are sent to the washing stage with biologically filtered seawater to remove all impurities. Next, they are deep frozen in a special environment, preserving flavor and nutrition while limiting bacterial growth. Each oyster is fully labeled: origin, harvest date, size, standard. They are then packed in specialized impact-resistant material to ensure their quality is maintained throughout the long journey. Thanks to that, when appearing at lavish banquets halfway around the world, Scottish oysters still retain their freshness as if they had just been caught from the sea. Scottish oysters are not just a delicacy, they are a million-dollar asset. Their price reflects 3 years of hard work, a rare environment, and strict controls. From Michelin-starred restaurants in London to swanky New York parties, diners are always on the lookout for them. They cost an average of $20 each, and even more for giant sizes or special flavors. But behind that price tag lie huge costs: skilled labor, cold storage, long-distance logistics, licensing, and strict conservation regulations, all of which have turned Scottish oysters into a symbol of luxury and scarcity. However, the Scottish oyster industry is facing significant challenges. Climate change, land-based pollution, and increasing fishing pressure pose a direct threat to this precious resource. Therefore, fishermen and managers have implemented many conservation measures: fishing quotas, controlling stocking density, and regularly monitoring water quality and biological health. Each oyster is seen as an indicator of ecological balance. Losing them would not only damage the Scottish oyster industry, but also the future of the coastal region. In the world of five-star restaurants, oysters are not just a seafood dish. They are honored as a masterpiece of culinary art. From the moment they are selected, each individual must undergo a strict inspection process to ensure absolute freshness. Inside that rough shell is the pristine flavor of the ocean, along with a drop of pure seawater preserved as a treasure. Every step, from shelling to presentation, is a testament to the precision and rigor of haute cuisine. On the sparkling silver platter, the oyster not only brings flavor, but also contains the story of 3 years of nurturing in the cold Scottish Sea. Only when modern farming techniques are combined with conservation discipline will future generations have the opportunity to enjoy this special seafood without sacrificing nature. Three years of meticulous care, 3 years of waiting and patience, and when the Scottish oyster appears on the dining table, it is not just a luxury seafood dish. It is a symbol of sustainability, of nature and human harmony. If oysters are a symbol of luxury and sophistication, then pufferfish opens up a completely different world, where each slice of sashimi is not only a taste, but also a life-or-death challenge, requiring absolute precision and complete trust in the hands of the chef. Pufferfish, or fugu, is not only a famous ingredient in Japanese cuisine, but it is also a symbol of adventure and sophistication in culinary culture. Every slice of fugu that lands on the table is the result of precise toxicity control. One small mistake, and the price to pay is human life. So why is this fish still farmed, processed, and even become a sought-after dish? In Japan, farming areas such as Shimonoseki or Ehime are not only the main suppliers, but also the stages that test the patience and mettle of fish farmers. Temperature, salinity, and current. These 3 seemingly ordinary factors determine the success or failure of an entire crop. Every day, fish farmers must measure, adjust, and record like silent scientists, because even the slightest change in the water flow can disrupt an entire school of fish. From the time they are transparent larvae, smaller than a speck of dust on the water surface, to when they reach commercial weight, the farming journey lasts more than 18 months. This period of time is like a marathon, long, exhausting, and does not allow for any subjectivity. From the start, the farmers have to shoulder a huge financial burden. The breeds must be carefully selected, the feed must be rich in protein to promote growth, and the entire water circulation system is installed like a miniature laboratory, where every drop of water entering and leaving is strictly controlled. But the biggest paradox is that the greatest threat does not come from the fish themselves, but from their environment. Seawater can be both a source of life and a threat. The deadly poison, tetrodotoxin, accumulates from invisible plankton in the water. One mismanagement can turn a school of fish into unworthy creatures, making months of hard work in vain. Therefore, keeping fugu is like sitting in front of a chessboard of risks. A disease outbreak can wipe out hundreds of thousands of dollars overnight, leaving empty tanks and helpless breeders. And even if the fish survive, another danger lurks. The market can change at any moment. A sudden drop in prices can turn a big win crop into a huge loss. The scariest thing is the worst-case scenario. If a batch of fish is found to contain excessive levels of toxins, the government will immediately impose a ban. In a moment, all capital and years of labor can be wiped out as if they never existed. So, as the harvest season approaches, the pressure mounts. It's no longer a game of weather or market, but a fierce race of time, skill, and intuition, where every decision is tied to the value of tens of thousands of dollars. After 18 to 24 months, the tiger pufferfish, or torafugu, reach their ideal weight of 2.65 to 3.31 pounds. This is the golden time when each kilogram of meat can determine the farm's profit. But that window is extremely short. If harvested too early, the fish will be underweight and the flavor will be incomplete. If harvested too late, the meat will lose its natural elasticity, become dry, and lose its premium quality. Therefore, breeders must carefully observe every signal: skin color, swimming reaction, body fat ratio, details that only eyes that have been trained for many years are sensitive enough to recognize. Even removing the fish from the cage can be a stressful ritual. If the fish panics too much, the toxins can spread to other parts of the body, making the entire process of handling them more dangerous than ever. And the risks don't stop there. As soon as the fish are landed, a rigorous round of testing begins. Tetrodotoxin, a poison 1,200 times more potent than cyanide, concentrates in the liver, ovaries, and intestines. Just 2 milligrams is enough to kill an adult, and to date, there is no known antidote. Therefore, the fish is only cut open by hand in a completely sterile environment. Only specialists or chefs specially licensed by the Japanese government are allowed to handle the fugu knife. To receive this certificate, they must undergo 2 to 3 years of training and face a skills exam with a harsh failure rate of up to 70%. After preliminary processing, the fish meat is cleaned, thoroughly inspected, then vacuum packed, refrigerated, or frozen before being put into the distribution chain. And only chefs with special certifications are allowed to prepare pufferfish. They spend years training to achieve absolute precision, turning each stroke of the knife into an art form. In the quiet kitchen, the fish meat was sliced so thinly that it was transparent, arranged in delicate petals on a cold porcelain plate. It was not only a display of technique, but also a way to show respect for the vital ingredient. In addition to sashimi, pufferfish can also be made into fugu-chiri, an elegant hot pot with vegetables and tofu. When cooked, the meat is firm and sweet, bringing a delicious taste that is both pure and powerful. If this story has given you a new perspective on the world of seafood, leave a comment and don't forget to follow us for more amazing journeys.